Okay.
All right, looks like we are live. Welcome everyone. It's Monday morning. Good to see you, Bernie. Good to see you, Alka. And I believe we are on the first week of chapter two. We are currently reviewing chapter two.
Yes.
So let me start sharing my screen here. Yeah, any thoughts, anything that anyone wants to say right out the bat for the week?
This is exactly like, I don't know, but this is my like it was a need of time for me, at least. Like, it was a severe episode that happened in last 3 days, and I was still trying to come out of it. And when I read a chapter, I am like, okay, I don't know if that incident happened this chapter to read, or because I had to read this chapter, I met with that event. I don't know, but it exactly the need of time that happened, and now I could see that I missed the whole point. I could have read the chapter 3 days before, and I could have said a lot of stuff here. Yeah,
Add that to the list, David.
my goodness, yeah.
Totally resonate with that.
Yeah, me too.
100%. So yesterday night, I sat down to read this book, and everything that happened in the last week became very clear. And it's surprising that how often we forget the basics, like, not manifesting, uh, not expressing negative emotion to begin with.
Not
Uh,
accepting them,
not expressing
expressing. Yeah.
uh, not 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 feeling negative is a completely different thing, but at least I think there's a difference between, I don't know what is it called, I'm forgetting the exact term, but
Negative manifestation.
not allowing the emotions to be expressed outwardly.
Yeah. The
So
expression
there's a
of
distance
negative
between.
emotions. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, do you ever do that?
Expressing negative emotions,
Yeah.
yes. Yes,
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Oh my
Quite often.
God.
Quite
I
often.
had a blast last 3 days, and I was out of control, and I could not, I was just surprised that where, and it was like a nuclear reaction where I was holding all that.
Mm.
And yeah, it was severe episode that happened 3 days. And now when I read this chapter, I was trying to understand also, but I was not like, I think not even the 10% attentive or observing what I should have as a, like, seeker. But I could feel that there was a huge, like, a huge this nuclear reactor that was producing some energy, and I wasted all of it.
You wasted all of it.
Yeah, I wasted all of, I mean, yeah. I would have used it and it would have fetched me good results, but yeah, I lost it.
Okay.
I did. I hope you're okay, Swati. Now.
I think now just half an hour before I started to feel better when I read this. I read chapter just now. I read like 4 or 5 pages, but I think I would not have understood completely if this episode would not have happened also. So I'm not sure like which should have gone first. But at least
Yeah.
right now I'm good. Like, those last 3 days were disaster. But
Yeah, same.
Okay.
yeah,
Same with
I'm
me.
trying to get out of that thing. Like, I was completely depressed, and I was trying to hold a space, like, to have my foot somewhere, like emotionally, mentally, I was completely gone. But yeah, this was a need of time for me, at least.
So what does the chapter say about that Swati went through?
That is like just the negative emotion, but it is not the real emotion. And
Well,
we could
how did the negative emotion What is a negative emotion? Anybody? First of all,
Any, there's no negative or positive. It's all something that your body, your moving center, you feel through your moving center, stomach, your stomach, your headache, your and the mind or the mental centrum translated as feelings and
yeah.
emotions.
Find it in the chapter. It's like right here near the beginning, how it's defined in this chapter.
Do you want me to go to a specific paragraph, David?
I'm just not remembering right at the second.
Oh,
What do you think you feel?
Hmm.
What do you think you feel?
But he says it somewhere. Doesn't he say that?
yeah, yes. Just a subjective mental state occurring in reflex to a muscular spasm.
Okay, focus on that for just. It's a what?
What page is it, Alka?
28, third paragraph.
Okay,
Hmm.
go ahead and read it, Alka, if we get there.
Of course, negative emotion being what it is, which is to say, just a subjective mental state occurring in reflex to a muscular spasm.
You mean all these important emotions I feel are just a spasm?
Yeah.
No,
Oh
it's a
man,
reaction to a muscular spasm.
it's just a reaction to them. It's even worse.
All my emotions are now offended.
Reverberations is the word, I think.
Yeah.
Reverberations.
Okay,
Hmm.
good. So but hang, let me be what it is say. Just a subjective mental state occurring in reflex to a muscular spasm. How does the muscular spasm come about?
That could be a mechanical reaction.
Well, I mean, so let's see.
So just a paragraph right about the one which we are there. For me, it happened that way, that the walking source of negative vibration is nearby, or maybe physically or emotionally, or you are communicating. A corresponding sensation begin, and it exactly happened that way with me, begin to manifest itself in a machine, a sensation which we automatically categorize as emotion, and which seems to us very natural. Perhaps the sensation originates in stomach, maybe tightening in the chest or a catch in throat, or but whatever. Like this is what, and then you get that muscular spasm, I think.
But what started it? Go back to the beginning.
The pebble in the pond.
Thank you.
Ah, I see.
Each human, go back to page 1. First of all, isn't it so sad that the machine has no real emotions? Oh, shoot.
Uh-oh.
Each human biological machine, according to its own typicality, has its own unique repertoire of reflex mental verb reactions to shocks. To shocks. Next paragraph. Shocks are the organic results of impressions passing through the machine, along with the machine's mental central responses to what it thinks it feels. Do we understand this?
Yeah.
So there's just something happens in the world, right?
Hmm.
Something happens. That's the pebble in the pond. And that acts as a shock to our machine, and the machine reverberates electrically, we react to it, right?
Yeah.
So
We have learned this when we're children. We have learned to it's a paradox. We learned that because we need to please, you know.
Yeah.
well, we need to survive, and
Yeah.
we later learn that pleasing is a form of survival.
Yeah.
But it's some shock, and each one of us, it's unique to us, right? Each one of us. And then go to the next paragraph. In the middle, we are helpless to stop the corresponding organic shocks from the radiating outward from each centrum. So when the shock occurs in the world, we can't stop the reaction. That's what it's saying, right?
Hmm.
Am I getting it right?
Yep.
The thing itself is nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's go back up just a little bit. It's the mental symptoms response to what it thinks it feels. Like you guys don't know this in other countries, but in this country, we have men that have these huge pickup trucks.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Swati, you probably see. Well, I guess some of you have seen it. Big pickup trucks, right?
F-150s.
Yeah, like, and they're big, they're huge, they're imposing. So when they come up, I see those, I have a shock. It's a shock to my system. Then I start to interpret it. I am afraid. I should be afraid. Or I wish I had a gun. Okay.
I felt it yesterday.
Okay, so the thing out there is neutral in itself, but it acts as a shock on me, right?
Mm.
Now, okay, let's see here.
So David, what you're saying is it has no real meaning in the outside world, but to you, you experience, uh,
Whatever you experience, it's huge, could be
right,
huge.
and then you are affected by it, right?
Go back, go down a couple paragraphs. We all suffer from these involuntary reverberations of the machine, especially when the organic machine reacts negatively to these disturbances. Okay. Then, okay, would you read the next paragraph,
I'm
please?
just trying to find the numbers in my book are different than the ones in the one projected, but yeah, I can read from here. So
24. We're on page 24.
yeah, so
Think of
we all think of the biological machine as a calm pool of water and the shock of impressions as a pebble. In this case, the ripples would represent organic reverberations of negative emotions. As we would expect, certain types of pebbles produce greater organic shock than others. When some disturbance makes an impact on the motor reflexive centrum, it is like a pebble when dropped into the pond. Ripples radiate through the machine as a result of the pseudo emotional impact.
do we get this? This is like an incredible offering by EJ. the simplicity and power of this paragraph is stunning.
Can you repeat it?
Yes, please.
Think of the biological machine as a calm pool of water, and the shock of impressions as a pebble. In this case, the ripples would represent organic reverberations of negative emotions. As we would expect, certain types of pebbles produce greater organic shock than others. When some disturbance makes an impact on the motor reflexive syndrome, it is like a pebble when dropped into the pond. Ripples radiate through the machine as a result of the pseudo-emotional impact. It's like the summary.
Yeah.
David,
Yes, sir.
we tend to think, at least in my case and at this moment, that the external impacts of the words are something physical or material, at least. But what about words?
Same thing.
Hmm?
Same effect. It's just a word. If somebody uses a particular word in your presence, it's like a pebble being thrown into your calm pool.
But I bring that because I was reminding me I won't be able to quote that sentence or aphorism in perfect toto, but I think the image will go through. It says something in this line: 1,000 words, in this case insults, in reality cannot even burn a leaf. No, but a small pinch from that leaf will exert 1,000 words, in this case insults. Do
Exactly.
you
Yeah.
have you heard this?
I haven't heard it, but it's exactly right. I agree.
Yes, yes.
Can you
So,
read that again, Barney?
yes, as best as I can, and David probably can help me. Can you, David?
Yeah.
David Bowery?
No, David here probably will do a best rendition.
Say the first part though.
Oh, a thousand words, in this case, a thousand insultos, in reality cannot even burn a leaf, una hoja. But a small pinch from that leaf will exert 1,000 insults from the person that has been pinched. No, I don't know. It's pinched or whatever.
So that's an example of a word, an insult, acting like a pebble in the pond.
Mhm.
Okay. There might be 1,000 of them, and none of them we don't care about any of them. But that one, boom.
But one more turn of this thinking is the paradox that that same insult is the word insult is okay? Insult.
Yeah. No, it's good.
Yes. The same insult, but said in another language will not affect us
And
because
the
we don't understand what the guy is saying. We
and
must,
insults for one
yes,
person may have
yes,
no effect on another person.
yes, yes.
None. So we have to study our own pebbles.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, what are the pebbles that hit us? Just real
And
quickly, go ahead.
also, thoughts work in the same way.
You bet.
Of course.
Your own
Yes.
thoughts suddenly can be a shock where you think, oh my gosh, I don't know if I'm gonna get that done. I have I have an appointment first thing. Oh, what am I gonna do? I won't, right?
Yeah.
And go bleh. And so then the pond is disrupted and there's ripples, ripples, ripples.
I was just thinking, Rajan says that at any particular second, there are thousands of thoughts that hit us, as vibrations. So we are virtually in a wave pool. It's not a pond, it's a wave pool that we are in.
Yeah, 30,000 impulses per second. Thoughts per
30,000
second.
impulses
Yeah.
per second.
Yeah. So some of them pass through without us noticing it. And some, however, act as shocks. The reason I'm pointing that out is because if you can see a shock that works in you and how it arises, it creates the ripples in your machine, there's something you can do about that, right? Go down to the next page, about 3 paragraphs, but in ordinary life, we cannot stop these pebbles from falling. We have no authority over the pebbles, by which is meant external and or internal shocks, nor do we wish to. We're not trying to change the world to fit our pond. We want to live within the world that we come upon. But we
Yeah, so
can
basically the work is not outside, it's only inside.
100%. You
Mm.
bet. We can, and then the next paragraph, here's what we can do. We can have authority over something, but what? And this next sentence is what I call one of the sentences that is too simple for the human mind. If we hope to eliminate these involuntary reflexive organic reverberations, we must take authority over the machine, not just in the ordinary way, but in a very special way. What is that special way?
Open the
The
waters.
water.
Well, it's presence and attention.
Attention.
We
Hmm.
have that, right?
Yeah.
That's
So,
go ahead.
sorry, I have a question here when we come to talking about open the water. For me, open the water in a way, presence and attention also brings forth, and I think you have already answered my question before I asked it, but I'm going to still go ahead and ask it. When we talk about opening the water, I was yesterday thinking that opening the water means having a certain foresight and preparedness about what can hit you,
Sure.
We live in a world, we live with people, there are certain behaviors and patterns and
Right.
things, like Nikhil's colleague not doing the utensils or my boss behaving in a certain way. We can be prepared for it, right? Or a new person we meet behaving in a weird manner. We should be prepared for it. And then my question was that does it mean that you mentally plan? And now
No,
you answered it, that
no,
it is not mentally
no.
planning. It's just about being in presence, which allows you those kind of intuitive awareness.
Read the next paragraph, please. We can learn
To open the water before the pebble so that the biological machine offers no resistance to the pebble and reverberations do not occur. In this way, negative emotion will at most be only momentary. This exercise is recorded in the Western tradition as the parting of the Red Sea.
So think of a think of a pebble that either has hit you or hits you all the time, and then just picture it. Picture the parting of the Red Sea, right? It just passes through you. It doesn't change the nature of the element, the shock. But if your practice in opening the Red Sea, which is attention and presence, and then in any circumstance, you can lessen the effect of the negative emotion.
David, two points I would like to share, because when I share, in reality, I am telling myself, no, but
Sure,
sharing
we
with the
love
group.
it. We love it.
2
Yeah.
points.
Yes.
One is that we have now information that we didn't have, and that's very important, because we have information, not only the exercises, but we have information that we are privileged having this information.
Yeah.
And the other is more from the streets. We say here, se necesitan dos para bailar el tango. You need two to play tango,
Okay,
to
good.
dance.
Mm.
Stay on that
So,
point. Okay.
yes.
The read in English, the next paragraph is, even in the course of ordinary life, we must have occasionally noticed that when someone, our tango partner, who is for us a walking source of negative vibration.
Yes.
So, like, I've shared about my neighbor a ton of times, right? And she's just
Yeah.
a remarkable voyager, but she also bothers me. She doesn't bother me. Some of her manifestations do. And then I react to it. Right? So what can I possibly do? Someone who is for us a walking source of negative vibration.
Internalize.
David, I have few confessions now that
Uh-oh.
you're talking about it.
Okay.
Again, back to my roommate. He's from India as well. So, he has a lot of friends in India and he loves to talk at night, like from 10 all the way until 2, 3, 4 on a daily basis. And I always feel like this is such a privilege because I'm blessed with this roommate who is always testing me, and who's always producing these manifestations in my machine, and I'm studying it, so it's good and all that. And I keep telling myself, and I just shut my mouth. It's like let him talk. But then some night he's just yelling throughout the night, and this week I just came out and I just told me, this is unacceptable. I don't want it. I just hatched out all of weeks and weeks of frustration on him. And he told me he didn't like the way I outright told him all this stuff, and I said sorry and all that. But anyways, I was pissed at him for a few days. So my I have a room and then my door would be shut. But whenever he would enter the apartment, I would hear the door, and as soon as I heard the door, I would have this strange sensation throughout my body. My whole body is like on alert. It's like, I
Yeah.
was relaxed, and now, okay, that kind of thing. It produced such a shock. It produced for a few days such a shock in me. Anytime I didn't even see him, the door is shut. I don't have any physical, I don't even see him. I just hear the door open, and I'm like, oh.
So
Yeah, that's
my
really
question,
fun.
my question is, how did you hire somebody that is so useful to you?
No, he's
I
he's
think the
not my
world is
colleague. He's my
designed.
roommate. He's the person that I live with.
That's what
So
I'm saying. How did you hire
I
someone
didn't
that
pick
good?
we were allotted together. So I never chose him. The universe chose us together.
My God.
But But I noticed that, hey, the sensation was so out in the face, for me. I was like, hey, look at my machine. And
Well, if it
yes,
helps
go
you
ahead.
any, if it helps you, Nikhil, we all think he's a creep, okay? You're
I
right that
didn't
he's a
say I didn't say anything about him being a creep. I didn't know how we jumped to that conclusion.
That's how the mind sometimes tries to buffer it. He's
Uh,
bad. That's why I'm having the reaction. Okay. Like the great advice we got from Nishant a few months ago when I was talking about stubbing my foot on the chair, and he goes, "It's always the chair's fault." Okay.
but
So
especially during those moments, David, when the chair hits you and you feel that strange,
okay.
you know,
So interpret that in relation to this chapter, Nikhil.
yes,
He's the shock of a pebble into your calm pond, right?
yes,
He isn't. He doesn't. You don't know this because your door is closed. He actually doesn't exist. Somebody, it just noise happens, the door opens, and this whole symphony of stuff goes on in your brain. Now, hold that in mind, okay? Hold that in mind. You have a very valuable moment there. Um, so it's good to keep. Now, he distinguishes in the chapter, which we can or we don't have to, but he distinguishes between reactions, which are negative emotions, either good or bad, and real emotions. And there's a fundamental vibratory difference to that, which we can get in at some point. So go to chapter 20, page 29. Okay, go down a little bit. Our reflex reactions toward the manifestations of others are the chief cause of automatic arising of lower emotional storms. Does that sound familiar at all, Nikhil?
it does.
Okay. Within the machine, if we allow them, when we see someone manifest certain gestures or use a certain tone or slam the door or whatever, he just probably opened it and closed it. And when we see, we assume that he means this exactly the way we would mean it, you know. So you interpret it. That's the mental centrum putting meaning on a manifestation of the machine. Okay. Now, so this guy,
David, this brings me to think that this kind of human behavior and pattern is so, if you are on the other side, so easy to observe that people in the
okay,
coming generations who are not exposed to stuff like that, with AI on the rise, they have no control at all. Like, I'm not talking about myself having control here, but I'm saying, think about those people.
well, later on in the chapter, he starts talking about if you can begin to get a handle on this manifestation in yourself, right? I see this thing and this happens in my machine. Then you can begin observing it in others. Okay. You can watch the play of how it works in other people. Okay.
It's so much to be done.
There's so much to be done, and then go to the next, I think the next page, 33. 31, no, 31, yeah. The condition. This condition of complete slavery to the mechanical self should arouse in us some feelings of genuine pity for the state of the mechanical human being. We can use this feeling of pity toward our own evolutionary work, applying the results of higher emotion of pity toward the activation of the higher emotional body. But if we are to arouse the higher emotion of pity, we must not look down upon mechanical human beings with feelings of arrogance, superiority, because we are all fish from the same barrel, no less and no more. So, can you have compassion towards yourself and its mechanicality? If you can, you have the beginning steps of freedom. And sometimes the best way to do it is see it in another. You see somebody that gets upset every time this happens. Maybe it's a girlfriend that always falls in love and then breaks up their relationship and then comes crying to you and da 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 da. Or it's somebody who wants to watch the game, and go Dodgers or whatever it is, right? So you watch their mechanicality, and if you can watch it with a sense of objectivity, that will allow compassion to grow in you. It's a beautiful thing, and it's a marvelous feeling. Okay?
And talking about the higher emotional body, I have a question
Sure.
or a sentence I wanted to read. It says real emotion is not a personal subjective mood, but a means of emotional communication.
When we are in the state of higher emotion, you see that it is a form of communication. This gets into our ability to manifest. If we can be in presence and attention and manifest that, we emanate the beginnings of real emotion. And people will notice it. For some reason, they'll want to be around you. They want to be next to you. They don't know why.
You can sense that in the voice of others and even in your voice when you speak from, let's say, from the heart, or near the heart at least. There is something in the voice and something in the voice of the other person. It's a different communication, not the usual "how are you?" blah 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 blah. There is something there, no? At least for a moment. Then, of course, we tend to go to the easy way. How are you? Good, the weather, and how are you? Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? Yes, yes, yes. But sometimes, at least I have felt that little moment that you are there. And if you are there, the other person, you invite the other person to that
Exactly.
space.
They have a chance to see, I can be there too. That's the land I want to live in. Since we have practiced presence and attention, we can be in that space when everybody is losing their own calmness. We can work to be there. Now, I think there's other comments to be on the chapter, but the other thing we're supposed to do today is say, okay, now that we understand the concept of a shock in the pond and that reverberation or how it works with others, does anybody want to declare how they're going to practice this exercise specifically during this week?
Yes, my question is actually related to that, David. Most of the times I'm working alone, okay? I'm just with myself, locked in one room, working about office, and there's nobody to talk to. I see there's a remarkable difference in my attitude towards people when I am in person, looking at them. There's a sense of love and empathy that is um, automatically flowing.
When
While
you are with them,
yes,
okay,
when I'm in person with them, but when I am working with them from a distance, my emotions, my reactions, my insecurities and fears are exaggerated,
okay.
which allows
When are they exaggerated?
when I'm working from my room, when
Okay,
I'm
yeah,
working
but
from
that's
my
a
room.
generality. Like the entire time you're working, you have that insecurity or
Yeah, I'm more hyper when I'm and I'm more, I'm calmer when I'm around people. Um, I have more opportunities to actually physically observe myself and them. And
okay. So let's just say you're working at home, you're working by yourself, and you're not, but you suddenly notice this anxiety. Does that make sense?
yeah,
Okay. And now you just notice, my God, I'm really anxious right now. Takes a form of self-observation, okay? And you observe the fact that you are in that state. You can go ahead and take the thing down, please.
I think somewhere the root is lack of confidence because it comes from a lack of losing something because I'm not working in person with them. And people who are working and going to office every day are in a better position to physically influence others. And I am at a distance, So that insecurity and that lack of confidence that uh, takes over, and then the feelings. There's so many negative emotions that I have been observing in the past 10 days, and especially past 3-4 days. There have been feelings of anger, there have been feelings of inadequacy peaking up. But my question here was none of this. My question here was because because my because my question here was that because I'm working from myself, should we look for opportunities and should we
Yes.
look intentionally for these opportunities?
Like for instance, Nikhil, do you want to? I'm not forgetting your question, okay? Okay. But Nikhil, if you're going to say how you're going to practice this exercise during this week, do you have an example of how you might do it?
Well, I I will have there are so many pebbles that I can select from. I will like my roommate. Uh, so I will pick a
What
pebble.
what pebble that the roommate throws purposely into your pond? He's
Uh,
waiting there.
Sometimes when he's talking at night and when I wake up and when I wake up from my sleep
So you're asleep.
and I'm annoyed
He's
that I'm
you're asleep in your bed, dreaming about wonderful things, and then you suddenly hear him talking to his mother in Mumbai or wherever the hell it is, in the middle of the night for you, in the middle of the day for her. And that's a shock, right?
yes.
Okay. What is the practice of
We can do the tense relax.
what's that?
The
Attention relaxation,
no
3SRB.
tense relax.
tense,
So
relaxed.
when you got mad that your friend is talking to his friends middle of the night, some of your muscles will contract. You will be in that position.
Mm.
That's right.
That, okay, I need to do something to this guy. And at that time, you can relax with the attention, the muscles.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's the pebble. The pebble in the pond is him talking on the phone, and then you have a reaction. Okay.
Well, David, one thing that I just realized is that if I am awake during the day, uh, it wouldn't matter or it wouldn't bother me as much or it wouldn't bother me at all. But if I'm asleep and I'm awoken from my sleep, I have that moment where I
Good.
lose control.
All we're talking about is finding a pebble. Okay. So when you find the pebble, then you practice parting the Red Sea. Let it flow through you rather than block it and get tense about it. That's called parting of the Red Sea. It's a form of relaxation, yeah. Okay. So that's a specific. Find a specific. Now, I always say find a specific, and everybody goes, "Oh, that's not big enough. I want something really big that can change the entire world and my life." It will. It's just that when you get one small event that becomes a moment of clarity, then it's that for you for the rest of your life. Okay? So that's a specific, something your roommate's going to do is going to cause is a shock on your pond, right?
Yes.
Good. So you're going to work on that. Does see what I'm saying, Alka, with him? It's real specific, right? His roommate blasts the door open in the middle of the night, calls his mom or his friends in India, whatever the heck it is, right? That's like encapsulated. When you get angry, something gets you angry. There's a shock. And then watch the anger. What we tend to do is what he talks about in the chapters, we tend to, well, that's normal. You should feel angry about that. You know, we don't care about that right now. So just find specificity and how it might work for you. Okay. Swati, would you like to say anything specific?
So I have a huge source of pebbles, not the pebbles, but the big rocks that will be there until one of us die, like me or him. So it will continue my whole life for sure. So I'm not worried about the source. I have enough of it, more than that. And it is those ripples are so profound that it doesn't give like get away even after like weeks and days. So that is there now. What I'm thinking is how to part a Red Sea. That's where I just
Correct.
really want to
Right.
work. So just give you an example. Like this is the man who I lived with like 12 to 15 years in my life, completely like abused in all different ways. So now my mind is conditioned, and then I get the sense like, something is happening, that this is how he will do, and how now he is like, I am getting impacted because of my daughter. We are joint, like sharing the joint legal and physical custody. So this will never end. And related to her, whatever, like say event XYZ, whatever happened, he will never cooperate, or he will make her suffer, or he will try to get me on the hill, like, my needs to, like, beg him for whatever I want for even for my daughter. So how to part is like, the sea there. So I really want to work, and it would be a real big, like, blessing if I can really part a sea, like, make a space open to study.
Sure.
So
Okay.
uh,
So the first thing to do, my suggestion is, first of all, like there's got to be, obviously you have an enormous emotional chain with this guy.
Yeah, that's where
I mean, huge. Years. It took years to construct this. Okay.
Mhm.
So, like, does he call you up or does he come over?
He can come over, but we have a court app that we have to communicate when you have a joint custody of a child, so that nobody can delete the message and stuff. So that is court requirement. So we communicate through that. So just single message is enough to disturb me for
Okay.
weeks.
So Dave goes on, da 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 da, da, and then you get a message,
Mm,
right?
right.
That's an example of a
Pivot.
pebble in a pond, to put it lightly, right?
That's a tornado in
Yes, yes.
That's a tornado in an ocean.
You are.
So actually, what I want to ask you to do is consider studying that just during this week, the texting part of it, okay?
Okay.
How you react to the texting part, just watch it. Just put that big brain of yours studying it. All right?
Mm.
What is actually going on here? What is actually going on is he's putting words in this machine, right? In the app.
Yeah.
And then it goes, around the world and then finally comes to your phone and goes bing. And then you have a reaction to it. So get closer to just pure observation of it.
Mm.
Pure observation of it. Very hard to do. Okay? Very hard.
One thing we discussed earlier is when so many impulses are coming in, but we only react to certain and not to all of them. And that's what they call it, the identical memory pattern. There is
Correct. I think,
incoming
yeah.
impulse,
You bet. You bet.
and only the identical patterns will create, like quote unquote negative emotion, the physical, uh, especially the the muscles, how it will contract. There is
100%.
certain pattern of that muscle contraction. But if you can relax the muscle, so what I started doing is, and this is just my experiment, is for example, the normal reaction, the muscles become, for example, I make a fist, that's the reaction. Or if my feet become, like inwards or something, then deliberately I'll move the muscles the opposite direction.
But in order to do that, you have to have awareness of the fact that it's occurring.
Mm.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
You have to
That is
start
the
with
first step.
awareness and understanding and notice that when this and this occurs, you go
Yeah,
like this.
right. No,
One,
no, that
one,
is the first thing. That is absolutely, yes, yes, David.
and then
Ah,
and the observation, the platform of observation is a great platform of strength within the human biological machine. It's bringing objectivity to an unruly cacophony of sounds within us.
David, we are on the line to finishing line. I would need to share two things, if I may. One is that what the group is now talking about, maybe we don't get it, but when this happens, we resist because we don't want to this that is happening. Let me rephrase it. What about, we are talking about what we usually call negative emotions,
Mhm.
but it's joy also is an emotion. Why we don't react or dismiss this also mechanical emotions? We should
Yeah.
be aware that
Both of them. The
yes,
so-called bad
yes, yes,
and good, if they're
but
automatic, it's negative.
yes, bad or good. We finally we subjectively define which are nice. Of course, they are nicer and not nicer. But what I try to remember is, you know, when the in the Bardos, Nishant and Nick will get me, follow me, when it says, where you want to go now? Anywhere but here. That is the classic mental reaction and resistance of ourselves when we are in a situation or place or in a company of people or whatever that we don't want to be there. Once we can see that, something changes, I think. And said that, I would like to share what happened to me today. Not very important, but I realized I had a transaction. I am part of my life is something that has to be the commerce, you know, business. And I was trying to buy a car, a vintage car. And I realized that when I was in the interaction with the seller, I didn't see him. I wasn't looking at him. What I only saw was money, you know. And I realized when you asked, what are you will try to do this week? I will try to be there and see the guy. And not because I am good or bad guy, because the transaction with another being, if you are seeing only a thing, you know, a thing, and a possibility of money, is something that won't get to a good port. You know, the situation that is called win-win.
So
I
why
found
don't you watch that during the week?
I will
Let us know how it goes. Okay.
yes,
Because
I
that's the pebble is some relationship to money for you.
yes. I didn't see the guy. I see money. You know. Now I realize.
Bernie, while you're
So,
at it, can you pick a number between 1 and 17?
me? Are you asking me?
Yeah.
7.
7.
Yes.
Okay, good. The excuse for the week is I've been trying to figure out the fastest way.
Such a lousy excuse.
Thank you.
Hey,
What a night.
stand by
What
it.
a night.
Anyway,
Yeah, all
good
right.
beginning discussion, and it's an exciting week of experimentation ahead of us.
Yeah.
And I look
Yeah, I'm looking forward to
seeing you.
hearing all the different pebbles that people come up with. That's what the most important thing will be next week. So, oh no.
Um,
I'll see
What a
you guys
night.
next week.
What a night. Bye bye.
Have a good week. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Thank you, everyone.
See you, Michelle,
Mhm.
Alka,
Thank you,
David.
everyone. Bye-bye.